Welcome to Country Time with Quinn, Ireland's first live web TV, country and western music show. I'll be coming to a web TV near you. The show is live on the internet every Friday evening from 8:30pm to 9pm GMT. Check drumlinmedia.com for further details. If you would like your artist or venue featured on the show, you can contact quinscountrytime@gmail.com or drumlinmedia@gmail.com. Tonight's show, we've got a young lady all the way from Dundalk, and she's going to play some music, and we're going to hear a story of her life. She's a fabulous young lassie here, and her name is Rosie Bell. Rosie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Seamus.
No problem at all. And you have your co-partner here in Grindr, Connor, as well.
Hello.
How are you keeping?
Not too bad.
Good. Now, how long are you in the music? You're probably more fairly new or recent into the scene.
Okay, well, I'm a bit old to be new into the scene, but I've been singing my whole life.
Right.
I've been involved in probably all types of musical ventures when I was a teenager and at school. And then, like a lot of people, I got, sidetracked with career and having a family. And I suppose about 10 years ago, I started writing again. So this sort of, I've always been involved in musical society and singing various shows and in choirs. So this is sort of recent to sort of really start songwriting again, and that's hopefully will continue and grow.
And on doing the shows and the variety shows and even other various shows you were just saying there, it actually kind of spurred you on to go the direction you're going now. Probably life was so busy for you over the last number of years.
Yeah, I mean, you can be very busy, and one of the things you have to be careful of when you have a busy lifestyle is that you don't cut out the fun things. One of the reasons I kept doing shows, and especially when my two daughters, they were involved with me, was that if you came home from work and just watched a bit of TV and went to bed, then all you had in your life was working and sleeping.
Yes.
But if you went and you took your time out and you were involved in your musicals and your dancing or whatever, then you had something good in your life, something fun. So I tried always to make room for that. And I guess how I got back really more into focusing on singing and writing myself was I had a guest house briefly in Dundalk for 6 years, and I had a lot of musicians used to stay with me when they played the Spirit Store. And I went, every time we had a musician stay with us, I went to hear them play. And over a period of 6 years, I watched several hundred singer-songwriters. And I guess that sort of, some of them were brilliant, some of them were good. But I thought, I'm not as bad as the worst I've seen. And, maybe someday I'll be as good as some of the better ones.
It spurred you on.
So I figured there was room for me in there. So I met some really great people in the music industry, and they've been very encouraging. So that's
great contacts when you things like that as well, because as you say, when these musicians were staying with you there, you went out to their shows as well. You had this camaraderie with these people that you could actually talk to them, and you up to this day, I'd say, like, this is where an awful lot of your stuff is coming from. You still can talk to those people and ring them up for information and stuff. Anyway,
absolutely. I'm actually going to Crete on Tuesday for Songwriting Week there.
Right.
And this came about, there's a gentleman called Kevin Montgomery who's his dad is Bob Montgomery. He's still alive, he lives in Australia, who wrote for Buddy Holly. So
Right.
the Bob and Buddy show in the Grand Ole Opry way back. And Kevin used to come and he used to tour with the rhythm section out of the Mavericks, so Rob Reynolds and Paul Deacon. And they used to stay with me in the house, even when the kids were babies. And they stayed with me 2 or 3 times a year for a number of years, and it was like home from home for them. And, they didn't even go into the dining room to have breakfast, they'd come into the kitchen. And they were just so normal and so down to earth. And so I had broached the subject about writing with them and, said, like, do you ever do any songwriting workshops or camps? And they hadn't at the time, but Kevin started, I think in around 2007, doing this particular week in Crete. So in 2010, it was the first time I could actually get away, leave kids and family and husband and skedaddle off to Crete.
Set your mind.
But when you spend time with people who are musical and who are so generous with their time and their talent, then it gives you the opportunity to grow and develop your own skills. So that's how it really started.
Yeah.
So.
Very good. And on that there, and maybe we'll let our folks out there hear you play some of your music and listen to some of the music there, and whenever you're ready, what are you going to sing first?
Okay. Well, the first song we'll do is a song called And I Regret.
Okay.
I wrote it with a chap called Simon Todd from Newcastle that I met in Crete, and Cormac is going to accompany me and sing backing vocals.
Excellent.
And we'll give it a try now.
I have no doubt you do more than try. It is very good. Whenever you're ready.
everything we say, you can heal our hopes away. Or maybe it's the words we don't often give away. Like I was wrong, and you were right, and I regret, and I regret.
Fabulous song,
Thank you,
a lovely
thank
song. No, and you certainly have no regrets on the road you're going down, because I love that music, and it is class, and you just do a lovely, lovely instrumental there, and accompanying. Conor, you're coming in fantastic there.
Cormac, tell him why you regret. Tell him why you regret.
Go on, is there a story here we want to hear?
I came in, it was just be parked up outside the building, and we were just ready to get out the car, and I just happened to say, so I said, this is where Cavan Radio is. And she said, no, it's TV.
Are you dickied up enough for this? You're spot on, you're perfect, you're perfect.
I met Cormac in Lourdes, so this has been divinely inspired, I might add.
Very nice and fabulous.
And it was last summer 2012.
Right.
And I went to Lourdes with my sister and my mum, and I sing in the choir in the local parish. So as they do, they've been known to pray and party in Lourdes. So the opportunity arose to get a bit of a sing-song going, and I was invited to start it, having the bald face. So anyway, by the time the week was over, people were saying, well, where do you play? Where do you gig? And I said, well, I don't play and I don't gig, because I don't have a band. I don't have anyone to play it with me. So going home through the airport, Cormac made the serious mistake of saying, Rosie, I'll accompany you.
Good man, Cormac.
That's my best impression of a Forkle accent. So he lived to regret that, because a couple of weeks later I said, right, come on, we're in the recording studio. And then in January we played our launch gig.
Ah, fabulous. And it is, and to say miracles don't happen, it certainly happened there.
That's proof that, you should never agree to a woman, you should always think about, these things that a woman asks you.
You left yourself open for that
He
one.
certainly did, but I think Cormac's guitar playing and harmonies are fabulous. I mean, they work well together.
They are, and especially here in the studio, or even in your own studio there where you were recording as well too. The acoustics and that comes out fabulously well too. It really, and I love that sound. I really love that sound. And you've done an EP there with a number of your own songs on as well too. That's
right. The EP, the same one I mentioned, I dragged poor Cormac into the studio. The EP was written over two separate weeks in Crete. Now, some of the songs, one song on it, I wrote, I'd say about 10 years ago. I was expecting Annika, and I had forgotten I had it. And while I was in Crete, this piece of paper, A4 page, fell out of my notepad. And Simon, who I'd worked on another song with, I said, well, what's this then? And I said, oh, I vaguely recognise those lyrics. But we had no clue what the tune was. So he picked up the guitar, and 10 minutes later we had a melody.
Right.
And the funny story about that was, when we recorded it, I thought it sounded a little bit like a band called Sixpence None the Richer. So I thought, well, maybe if we tried it with a piano.
Right.
So the story was, okay, where am I going to get a piano player? So somebody said, well, you could get yourself a session musician off the internet. Right. So Rosie starts Googling. So I Googled anyway, piano player. Up pops some photographs. I thought, I like the look of him. He'll do. So I started this dialogue with a chap called Darren Brown, who lives in New York, and he was one of the few who was interested in actually hearing the song and seeing what he could do for me and what type of sound I wanted. So the deal was struck, and he sent me the track, which is the one that's on the EP. And it turns out he's Enrique Iglesias' piano player. He was just back from touring Europe.
Brilliant,
so
brilliant.
Me and Enrique, share
bosom buddies.
Absolutely.
Oh, big connections.
I know. Yeah, two degrees of separation. So the EP was released. We recorded it, and we had the launch gig in February, and it's just been submitted for digital distribution. So hopefully we'll have an iTunes launch on around the 1st of July.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
And for anyone who wants to listen to it, it's up on SoundCloud. So
we'll certainly
go and have
do
a
that.
listen
And
there
for people. There's no doubt. And SoundCloud, that's where that will. It's on it at the moment, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's there. People can stream it and have a listen. But SoundCloud, it's just basically for people to listen. They can't sort of purchase, but
at least have a listen and see what you know.
Yeah.
And look, before we go any further, because there's a lot of history and stories I still want to talk to you, and we go to a commercial break. So we'll just take a commercial break and be back to you in a few moments.
Pat Short here. You're watching Cavan TV.